Hey, everybody. Quick chat if you guys can hear me okay. Anybody out there? I hope so. Hey, house, can you guys hear me okay? I want to start by using a little graphic here. Let me see. I should be live. Can you guys hear me? Yes, good. So first of all, everybody's freaking out. I'm here to calm everybody and just start with a little illustration of how all roads actually lead to this guy. So just want to share that with everybody. A little piece of art that one of our folks made us. So I'm back. So I'm going to just jump right in as usual and click through stuff. This is crypto market update. I had a request from somebody on Patreon today to go live and dispel all of the fear that they were experiencing. As usual, channels about math, money, and freedom, you know that. And none of this is investment advice, although there will be some things that I actually did today in here as well, live trades. So as usual, let's just jump right in. So let's start with a little bit of bad news first. I'm going to talk about some of the FUD that's out there. So one of the crypto analysts, Dave the Wave, points out that Bitcoin is really struggling to get to $60,000. And he thinks it's going to have trouble reclaiming the $58,000 level and that this could be a top, near a top. But I want to say, no, it's not. We are very far from the top, and I'll show you why in some subsequent slides. So then we talk about the big FUD, the king of FUD manipulation. Elon Musk comes out. Now, the irony is this is the guy that pumps Dogecoin, and now he slams Bitcoin after being very pro-crypto, after spending $1.5 billion on Bitcoin, after Bitcoin making Tesla more money than they've ever made from selling cars. And then in this weird little text box, which is obviously contrived, written by somebody else, says it is bad, then good, then not selling. So, the big message here is, I don't know, there's so much stuff to talk about, but, as somebody once said, don't watch what they do and not what they say. Get to the bottom of some of it. Obviously, he talks about energy, and he should know about energy and the amount of energy that other industries actually use, but I'm going to leave that. Now, these two fellows really address the FUD very nicely. Pomp, big fan of Pomp, and big fan of Sailor as well. Elon, you realize that 75% of miners use renewable energy, right? And the energy story has been debunked over and over again recently as well by Jack Dorsey, as well as Cathie Wood. They went to great length to understand exactly what's going on. And then Michael Saylor said the irony is because no incremental energy is used in a Bitcoin transaction, which is also great. And they had a very nice debate going back and forth on Twitter, which was interesting to watch as well. Now, the big secret is, what is Elon Musk up to? So there's a whole concept of 3D chess. You've heard me talk about it with people like Peter Thiel, who says China is a threat to the US because of all of their Bitcoin mining and everything else. These guys always do things for a reason. They don't just randomly do stuff. They do stuff either to poke fun or for an end game. And many believe that this end game for Elon Musk is true market manipulation. He knows the Biden administration is pumping this whole Green New Deal stuff, basically giving a lot of credits, what are called RECs. You're going to hear a lot of this over the next couple of years. Renewable energy credits. So Tesla makes most of the money from these, which are paid by other automakers, but they are running out soon. And they're trying to build a play where they can get into the renewable fuel credit market beyond other auto manufacturers. And that's exactly what they announced a few hours after all of this FUD. Manipulation much? Question mark. I thought that was a nice play on M's. So this was a tweet from William Clemente, and he talks about the fact that nearly 20,000 Bitcoin moved onto the exchanges. Elon's tweet. So somebody put a whole bunch of Bitcoin on the exchanges so they could actually dump them or do something. We're not sure exactly what this is, but it was highly coincidental. So the question is, if Bitcoin was a stock, the SEC would investigate Elon Musk for fraud, plain and simple. And that's the crux of all this. But enough of that news for now. There's in related news, when I put news stories together, I try and weave it all together to make a pattern out of all the madness. So Bitcoin manipulation is real. You've heard me talk about it for a very, very, very long time. The SEC is cracking down, and people fear that, but that's actually a good thing, because when the SEC cracks down on market manipulation, it'll make it a better place for everybody for a while. So, Chris, I'll get back to that question afterwards. But Tesla, well, why don't we tackle it right now? Yes, I think Tesla is a revolutionary company. What they are doing with AI, with energy and utilities and storage and vehicles is staggering. I own a lot of Tesla. I own a Tesla X. I am a huge fan. I just think Elon Musk sometimes says things that are a little off base. So yeah, Tesla at 540, 560, well worth a long-term investment. I mean, this is a $3,000 stock in 3 to 5 years. So it's a no-brainer at that level. SEC is cracking down. That's good. Tied to SEC crackdowns and investigations and all that type of stuff. Another piece is Binance. And in full disclosure, I actually own some BNB as well. I got in around $400. And it took a little bit of a beating today. So the headlines come out and say, Binance is under investigation. What they really mean is they're digging into some of the criminal transactions of people doing shady things on the Binance exchange, not the criminality of Binance. So people kind of freak out. I just want to make sure, it's not the case. So of the 2.8 billion, roughly, of transactions that were suspicious, 756 million of them, which is 27%, wound up on Binance. So it just shows you the power of Binance to go to the big exchanges. So that's inevitable. And that just shows you how big Binance is. But there's no doubt in my mind that CZ will cooperate fully with the government and solve all the problems and expose any criminal matters. Again, what was also proven recently is less than half of 1% of all criminal transactions actually occur with crypto. So they should look at the US dollar transactions instead, or dollar yen transactions. That's where all the crime is actually happening. So let's go a little bit further. Let's talk about Coinbase. Now, I did an IA alert today. I was waiting for the second dip of Coinbase to hit 251, 252. And about 20 minutes before the close, it hit that level. So, but watching Kathy Woods, she keeps loading up on Coinbase. And contrary to what typically happens in 80% of cases, sometimes, most of the time, companies dip after earnings, but this was already beaten down. So the corollary is true. When a stock is already beaten down before earnings, it tends to bounce, even if they miss earnings. Now, Coinbase didn't actually miss earnings. They missed by a tiny fraction. The revenue is 1.8 billion versus 1.81, which is expected. And remember, their revenue is a function of Bitcoin price. So when Bitcoin price goes down, they make less commissions. So that's where that 1.1, if Bitcoin averaged for the last week or two about $65,000, that wouldn't be the case. Earnings per share was $3.05 versus $3.09. And we'll see what happens. But I believe, the summer is going to be a bumper summer for crypto. And I believe Coinbase will do very well. And I bought some $250 call options. Now, I've been waiting very patiently for ages to get in. It did a beautiful double bottom, 251 twice, and that was my sign. And that happened 20 minutes before the market closed today, and it went up as high as $275 in after hours. So it's up nearly $25 from where I got in. So again, just sharing that with you all. Now, Microstrategy, as usual, they are buying the dip. They do not stop. They now have 91,850 Bitcoin, and another big arbitrage opportunities in play. Now, granted, Microstrategy price is a function of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes in the tank, you got money at risk here. So in full disclosure, but I have a lot of MicroStrategy. I got in at 290, 300, 540, 600, and et cetera, et cetera. You get the message. So I'm extremely bullish because I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin. Now, when we look at the arbitrage opportunity, I built a model for Patreon, and this basically calculates what you need to have. Now, I assume that MicroStrategy has an intrinsic value of $1.2 billion. That's the enterprise value before they even put any Bitcoin on the balance sheet. They hold $4.5 billion in Bitcoin today, and the market cap is $4.7 billion. So basically, the math does not add up. I reckon the delta, the arbitration delta between the actual value of the enterprise, including Bitcoin, and the stock price today is minus $99.87. So add that $99.87 to the $488 that it is today. That should be the true value of MicroStrategy. So I think that's an opportunity. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Now, let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin. Bitcoin bounced off a very critical level, and this is the 21-week moving average. And it bounced perfectly off it. And also, coincidentally, you know, I'm big into Fibonacci retracement levels. That ties in exactly with the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level. And that's a positive sign of a solid bottom that we've put in. You know, the market has been kind of flat for 2.5 months. It's in that little box, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think that could be the final bottom of support before we go higher. Again, I'm very bullish, and let me tell you why. First of all, Stanley Druckenmiller, he is a legend investor. He says the Fed is endangering the dollar's global reserve status by printing so much money. And this guy knows his stuff. He's an extremely successful man. And 6 years ago, he said, which is coincidental, he said crypto was a solution in search of a problem. 6 years ago, he didn't quite know where crypto would go. But now he comes out and he says, okay, here we have a problem. And now crypto could replace the US dollar as a global reserve asset. So he put everything together. First of all, he said, okay, the Fed is printing way too much money, and that's threatening the status of the dollar. Second, crypto is a solution in search of a problem. And third, this is the solution. So for him to come out and say that is quite powerful. Now, Raoul Pal, and I'm a big fanboy of his, he comes up and he's very big into Metcalfe's law and forecasting stuff. He said the crypto space is growing at 113% per annum, which is massive. This is quicker than internet adoption historically. And he estimates there will be 4 billion crypto users by the year 2030 or earlier. In fact, I think it was Newsweek came out and said there's 50 million or 46 million people using crypto in the US, but I couldn't verify those numbers exactly, so I'm not posting them here. However, what's important to know about this as well is Metcalfe's law doesn't account for the rapid exuberance and pessimism along the way. So we're going through a radical transformation change, everybody. And there will be volatility. Just experience that. There will be people like Elon Musk saying silly things will drive the price down 11% in a matter of hours. That's just the reality. But just think, big picture. All roads, as I say, lead to Bitcoin, like I started this off with. So stay tuned. And that is powerful. Imagine crypto adoption happening faster than internet adoption. Big news. Let's talk a little bit about Ethereum. Switch gears for a minute. Ethereum has really floated my boat, to use the term. I shared with people on Discord earlier today. The Ethereum now has $50,000 Ethereum strike price by 2022. Think about that for a second. There are people making bets today that Ethereum will hit $50,000 next year. I'm going to let that sink in, drink some water, because I always get accused of not drinking enough. So there's people making those big bets. The other thing that's interesting to note is there's more options volume now on Ethereum than there is on Bitcoin. That just shows you how much takeoff there is for Ethereum. And again, looking at all my numbers and forecasting models and everything else, there's now nearly no doubt in my mind that there is an extremely strong possibility that the market cap of Ethereum could exceed that of Bitcoin at some stage. So we'll see. Watch that space. Now, I just want to make a quick clarification as well. Yesterday, I got a lot of hate and a lot of heat from my analysis of VeChain. I just want to say a couple of things. I am a quant guy. I look at numbers and I compared in my model VeChain compared to the existing incumbents in the supply chain management space. They are SAP and Oracle. And I estimated that they could have 4% market share of all of supply chain software business by the year 2030. And that would bring about a 31 cents valuation if it was an enterprise software company. So that was my thesis. Okay. Now, I also brought in 3 other analysts and their price expectations. And we weren't too far off. So I wanted to use that, but I didn't want to upset anybody because I know a lot of people out there wanted to go to $10. And when I say things that are kind of more grounded, more realistic, based on fundamental values and models, I don't want to upset anybody. But my point is, don't expect if it's going to be quantified as an enterprise software company, because they're in the enterprise software space doing supply chain management, 2 things. One, I valued it fairly. Now, it can go beyond $1 if they get into other areas like carbon credits. We just talked about REX earlier today, NFTs, identity management, et cetera, et cetera. So there's so much more that they could do. And that would expand the value, the enterprise value of the business way beyond $1. So I just want to make that clear for everybody. I wasn't saying, okay, it's 17 cents now, it's going to 33. That's a doubling. A doubling isn't good enough for people today. They want 10x, they want 100x. So just want to be very clear. And if you watch my video again, you'll see exactly what I was saying during the whole thing. I think the future is very bright. And the key of this chart I'm just showing you here as well, if you look at companies with no intrinsic value, like SafeMoon and Dogecoin, and look at their valuations and performance this year, it's insane. So once the world wakes up to the value of VeChain, and I'm a big believer, not a hater, I'm a believer, then that should spike up as well. But you have to bring things down to earth and really tie in the real value, intrinsic value of companies as well down the line. So that was my point on VeChain. And final note, for all the Cardano holders out there, we are up 100% in 21 days, and it looks like it's going to break $2 real soon. In fact, let me just do a quick check. Cardano is right now at still at $1.90. So we're a little bit of ways off, but it's going to get there, no doubt in my mind. And I think Bitcoin should get above 50,000 tonight in quick order. So that was that. And finally, I'm going to open it up to some Q&A with you all, because that's what you guys like. And actually, I really enjoy doing these live things. And I'm glad you guys are here too. So let me just pop up the questions that are coming in on YouTube, and I'll start answering some questions. Oh, there's a big donation for the kiddies. I wish there was a way of me getting you guys some type of documentation where you could get your tax credits for making these donations. Anyway, let me look at Zeke. Just because you're a good man, brilliant. Thank you. Mr. Solomons, thank you so much. The furry animals appreciate it. I'm going to scroll back up because I know there was another question. What was there from somebody else? Favorite coffee? Fire it up. Okay, let's have a coffee question. Let's start with the really hard stuff. It's called Ritual. It's a coffee roaster in San Francisco, and they have a brand called Sweet Tooth. And they should contribute towards the animals too for me pumping them. It's very expensive, but it's very good. Okay. Richard, GBTC versus ETH for retirement accounts at the moment. Right now, ETH was at, I think, a 12 to 15% discount at one stage today. GBTC was at 20% discount. But I'm beginning to think that ETH has more legs. So, and I think as an XPR thought, please, is XPR, does that mean XRP? Please clarify. If it's XRP, I don't like XRP because they have 51 billion coins in escrow, which is not good. So there it is. I think it was Biter the Snow Dog. Yeah, XRP, I don't like. I think there's far safer, better places to place money. I know I've had a lot of requests as well to look at things like Litecoin, and that got hammered today. Bitcoin Cash, or don't touch Bitcoin Cash ever. Ethereum Classic, I warned people last week, don't touch Ethereum Classic. It's not Ethereum. And of course, it fizzled out. So that'll happen. Matic, Timothy Farnsworth. Matic is something I'm looking into. I'm not in a position to tell you an accurate prediction of which one will be stronger in the short term. But what typically happens is the big leaders, they run fastest first. It starts with Bitcoin and then Ethereum follows. And now we're seeing Cardano catching up with Ethereum and all other players like, the Theta, Solana, the VeChain. I'm just waiting for those things to pop as well. Birdie, I am not from Switzerland, but I lived there for a long time in Zurich. So thank you for asking. Let me see. Can you outline the weaknesses of Doge? Yeah, I could. It started as a joke, but in fairness to Doge, if it becomes a currency that people can use, why not? And I think I mentioned this before. There's lots of people like basketball groups or NBAs and sports organizations. Even I think SpaceX was threatening to accept Doge as payment. I don't know what they're talking about, but if it is accepted as a payment, as a quasi-currency, that's fine. But it'll be like having fiat in your pocket. So use it as a speculative asset. Only invest money that you'd otherwise bet on a football game at the weekend or poker with your friends or an expensive, elaborate item like a purse or whatever. And, use it like that and keep it to buy stuff with. But it's going to be very volatile. And ultimately, the end game will not be good. I think under 40 cents is where it belongs. So there's a couple of the questions. BNB video. Tubby Dubby. Yes, I will put one together. I'm a huge BNB fan. And I have so much to say. It's going to be, if I do a BNB video, it'll probably be like 30 minutes long. So I'm trying to compress everything, but I can run it through my framework for sure. I own, just a reminder as well, somebody asked there, I have my cryptos. I now own 6 of them. Bitcoin, Ethereum. My Bitcoin to Ethereum ratio is now 60-40, which is crazy. It used to be 15 or 85-15. I have Engine Coin, Binance, Cardano, and VeChain. I added VeChain yesterday, coincidentally, and I dropped it a little bit down as well. So Raycab1, CRC, 2,500. I'm not even sure what currency that is. Thank you so much. So what do you think of IOTA as a whole and as a hodl? So IOTA, again, I'm not an expert on IOTA. I haven't analyzed it in great depth, but I think there are safer places. I like to play in the top 10 cryptos or the 2 cryptos that I think will break into the top 10. So once things settle down with some of the cryptos that are out there, once Doge gets back out of the top 10, I see things like Solana and VeChain jumping in from there as well. So should I invest in Dent? I don't know what Dent is. So, light above the bear, SK Powers. Yes, I'm a superstitious guy. So I turn the light on the bear when things are a little bit unsettled. Normally I'm very bullish. I've got the light on both. Now, if the light was to go off the bull and just be on the bear, that means I'm shorting the hell out of everything. Thoughts on Polkadot? Very. So Polkadot and PancakeSwap, I have videos coming out soon. Extremely bullish on Polkadot. But there's just so much out there right now. I'm trying to get into the right thing. I had never heard of Moon Pirate. That's a question from Beast AF. Never heard of Moon Pirate, so I don't know what that is. SafeMoon, RDB. I heard SafeMoon is a complete scam, so be very careful. In fact, in my previous chart during the presentation, I had Dogecoin and SafeMoon compared against VeChain. So again, it's the people behind SafeMoon are pumping it too much, and that makes me very, very suspicious. So Ethereum gas fees, yes, they've gone crazy, and that's a bad thing. But the reason the Ethereum gas fees are so high now is because the network is so congested. So ADA huddle, Beyond or Impossible Burger. So I actually have the Impossible Burgers in my freezer upstairs, and I hope they don't turn out to be unhealthy. But I like to grill on the smoker, a lot of asparagus and Impossible Burgers as a weekend treat. So vegan VeChain. All right. If you spam your questions, I'd like to thank you, Mike. Mike is here to support us. He is a moderator, and I really appreciate all the work you do. So thank you. Let me see. I have Cryptolicious, Kai Cardia Chain. Non-invasive cross-chain like DOT, but better. Oh, I'll check that out. I'm not familiar with that. Cardano future. Cardano is definitely going to $3, no doubt in my mind. Again, very conservative. I'm in at $1 and I bought more at $1.15. So the question is, where is my furniture? El Rey, this is a very big house. I'm a minimalist and this is a studio. If I could turn the camera around, you'll see all the furniture is this way, but this is just the back of it. And I tend to shoot in different places all the time. So Valgov, how long is the light going to be on the bear? I think it's probably going to come off tonight. It was on all last night. But I think we're going to come out of the woods now. Just looking at certain things, looking at the bounce of things like Coinbase aftermarket, I'm just feeling that Ethereum and Bitcoin will start bouncing north again. We'll see. Denny Sheldon, the miners got devastated. Marathon, Riot, Hot 8, absolutely devastated. In fact, when I first did my first mining video, I told people Hot 8 was a great deal. We are like 7 or 8% under that price where that video came out, which had been in the money for the longest time. So now it's underwater. I still own a little bit of Hot 8, but we'll see. So client 343, what are the best ways? Hang on a second. Ooh, I'm way behind. What are the best ways to deal with inflation? So I did a full video on that. So the 3 things: 1, real estate; 2, crypto; and then 3, disruptive stocks that are going to grow faster than 15 to 25% per year. That's how I would play it. Check out my video over the weekend. It was last Sunday, like 4 or 5 days ago. And I go into detail of the best ways to battle inflation, also based on age groups. So it was my INA Invest Answers QA Sunday. So every weekend I answer all your top questions. So CT Blues, thank you so much for the contribution for the furry animals. What are the best financial news sites to follow? Are pay sites like Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, and IBD worth it? No. So I do actually, I subscribe to Medium, Alpha, hang on a second, Seeking Alpha, Barron's, those type of sites I subscribe to. Also, things like Twitter are wonderful sources of information as long as you follow the right people. And I have Google Alerts configured for all of the things that I follow. And that way you get all the news. But I have to spend 5 or 6 hours a day reading. I don't get my news by looking at YouTube. I read. I'm kind of old school. Investors Business Daily, worth it. I think it used to be 20 years ago. I used to subscribe to IBD and Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg. I actually do subscribe to Bloomberg still, but the other two, not anymore. They're old and everything else. Feed chain price prediction. Rob, good question. So between 33 cents and $1, I think at the top of this market, if things really explode, I see a lot of money going into VeChain, but I think it'll settle back down around 33 cents. But it should blow up, and it belongs in the top 10 for sure. So let me catch up with some other questions. Dominic Forano, thank you so much. Have you been targeting entry point for ICP? No, but I am researching ICP, and I know it's red hot, and I just have so much to stay on top of. So it is on my list of things to do. I just wish there were more hours in the day. Rav Sandhu, Invite. Yes, it's hammered, it's beaten down, and sorry about that. And Mike, thank you so much for getting the scammers. They're in here as well. So I'm now on scammer radar. So thoughts on Monero? Yeah, a lot of people really don't care about privacy right now at this stage. I think it has a play for the future, but not for right now. People are more concerned with making money fast and less concerned about privacy. If people care truly about privacy, Facebook would be dead and all those other things. So that's the way I kind of see it. But I do understand the value. Baron C, thank you so much. What are the most cryptos dumping, but 88 isn't? Yeah, explanation I see, Baron C, is first of all, Cardano is coming out with a lot of good news. Charles Hoskinson never comes off YouTube pumping stuff. And I think whenever gas fees go high on Ethereum, it increases the value proposition of Cardano. And also, in addition, I think, and these are all, not scientifically related, just my gut telling me, Cardano always lags Ethereum. So they never run in sync. They delay each other. So when one is hot, the other was cold, and vice versa. So Baron C, thank you so much for that question. So let me see. I'm going to wrap up now. I'll take another quick question or two. Buying Bitcoin now, I think Bitcoin is a transformational platform. It is absolutely unique. It is changing the world. I think the future for it is incredibly bright. And my thesis is always around scarcity. There's nothing more scarce. And the adoption's only beginning. And that is the brand. So between Ethereum and Bitcoin, everybody needs to hold some. I keep getting questions about H-bar. That is on my list to look at. So Moon Pirate, no. Anything are anchors, pirates, I don't look at. Or anything with dogs or other types of furry animals, despite the fact I love animals. With all the Shiba Inu stuff and everything, just be careful. Stick with the big names. And Kaylin James, if you had $1,000 to right now to invest in crypto, what would you invest in? Well, I would have invested a few days ago. In my investment today, I actually bought Coinbase 20 minutes before the close. But that's, I think, a short-term hit, and it's an option trade. I think I would get a little mix, a little basket of cryptos that I like, a little bit of VeChain, a little bit of Cardano. If you could afford a little bit of Ethereum, get some of that, and Polkadot. So that's kind of what I like. And if you can afford Bitcoin, everybody needs to have some Bitcoin. So that's my thought on that. I'll take one final question. I hope I didn't miss anybody who got it. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate this. I just want to scroll up, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, yeah. Bryce Ward. Sorry, Daniel, I scrolled up for a reason. Can you check out SafeBank token? It's amazing, a great project. Bryce, I will, because you contributed $10 towards the animal. I will check out SafeBank token. Okay. And I'll have something to you, or at least I mention it in some ways very soon. So that's a wrap, everybody. Thank you so much. Again, buckle in, and I'm going to leave it with a closing image, everybody. Everything leads to Bitcoin. So just be patient. The future is extremely bright for all of us out there. So I wouldn't worry about it at all, right? Bitcoin. Be safe, everybody. Thank you so much for joining.